Hello everyone, Mad About Steam here. First of all, thank you to everyone who took the time to send in your questions. I wasn't expecting to receive so many, so I'll try my best to answer as many of them as I can in this video. Without further ado, let's get started. Question submitted by @Spencer Connor Caitlin Gordon. Question: how did it feel to make that Connor and Fergus working together remake? I don't remember much about when I was filming the remake. It was a little bit tricky to come up with an idea, but I tried my best and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Question submitted by @Emma Sands 2731. Question: can we make Alexi and Merlin video together? I am going to combine this with a question submitted by @104K3D. I get this question a lot, and believe me, I'm genuinely flattered that so many of you want to help out. It really means a lot to know that people enjoy my content enough to want to be a part of it. However, it's a difficult situation because if I let one fan join me in a video, I'd have to do the same for everyone else. With over 2,700 subscribers, that just isn't realistic or fair. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to decline. It's nothing personal, I just think it would become very awkward trying to manage everyone and also do not want any creative clashes. Another reason is that I don't want to give out my Discord account, and I don't really plan on creating one for my community. With the way Roblox works nowadays, it would be incredibly difficult to coordinate filming sessions and communicate with everyone effectively. So, while I really appreciate the offer, for now I'm going to continue making my videos the way I always have. Thank you for wanting to be involved, it genuinely means a lot. Question submitted by @Foreman's Enterprise channel. Question: what has been your favorite music video that you've made? That's a tricky one. I can not only give you one answer, because as embarrassing as it is, I listen to my own remakes when I'm on the bus going somewhere. The favorite one I have made because of the production, I have to say it is the remake Ready As Will Ever Be. That was a lot of fun to make. Me and my crew still sing that while we are on VC. The one I enjoy watching the most is I Topped the Driver with my shovel and videos like Be Prepared. Basically any video about a villain, I put my heart into it and really make sure it is the best quality for you guys. But one that has meant more than any to me is the Firecracker remake, about Joan the firewoman on the Llangollen and her struggles on the Settle Carlisle. The story genuinely brought a tear to my eye.
I took the first loco in 13 over Settle and Carlisle, a demon throwing coal like it was going out of style. I pushed myself to breaking point, I knew I could do better. Fired Appleby to Hellafield in proper train wreck weather. I'm lucky to be shoveling, lucky to be alive. The care system to cancer and more I've survived. With this picture in my pocket, Fred Holmes should come with me. I made cleaner, I made fireman, I make driver, wait and see.
I've also had quite a few questions about my older videos, especially the Dave Golder remakes. A lot of you have asked if I'll ever remake things like the Turntable song, so I thought I'd answer that here. Back when I first got introduced to Sodor Online, a few of my mates and I started making remakes together. At the time, we uploaded them to a different channel because it already had around 500 subscribers, so we thought it would be a better place to put them. Some of you may also remember the infamous Requiem for Steam remake. That one certainly got a reaction. Someone disliked it so much that they dragged all of us into a voice call and proceeded to point out everything they thought could have been improved. They even had the nerve to say, "I think you should just redo the entire thing." Well, look where we are now. I'll admit I wasn't exactly calm. I pretty much snapped and told them I wasn't redoing the whole thing, and I definitely lost my temper a little. Looking back, it was one of those moments that taught me not everyone is going to like what you create, and that's perfectly fine. Those videos were some of our very first remakes, and they've come a long way since then. To actually answer the question, though, yes. The plan is to remake every Dave Golder remake we've ever made, including some of the newer ones like Footplate Cuisine. More on that later, just know it will probably take years, juggling Skarfell, my real life and other stuff. Question submitted by @563 Kingston Subdivision question: how do you film in Locos Online while getting rid of all the UI? Love the videos BTW, keep it up. Thank you, Kingston. That's very kind of you, I really appreciate you saying that. I'm honestly surprised I haven't been asked this more often, especially with all of my remakes. Let me show you how I do it. So, first of all, here we are in Sodor Online. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the orange light bulb. Click that, then scroll down until you find Hide Game Buttons. Turn that on, and all of the in-game buttons will disappear. As for the driver's UI, let's head over to OBS. Before I start recording, I simply click the red eye icon next to it to temporarily hide the capture. Once that's hidden, I hop into an engine, zoom in until the driver's UI is no longer visible, and then enable the game capture again. That way, the UI never appears in the recording. One thing to keep in mind is that sometimes your mouse cursor can still be visible, even if you've disabled cursor capture in OBS. If that happens, you may need to tweak your capture settings or make sure the cursor is off screen before you start recording. I hope that answers your question, and thanks again for the kind words and for supporting the channel. Question submitted by @thesmartleader164: how long will Skarfell episode 2 take? It's honestly difficult to say exactly when Skarfell episode 2 will be released. During the summer, I'm very busy with various things outside of YouTube, so it's most likely going to be released sometime this autumn, hopefully around mid-October. That isn't a guarantee, though, as the release date is still uncertain. Since you've asked, I'll give you a little teaser. At the very end of episode 1, you can briefly see a certain character standing on the mountain. Episode 2 is planned to be a Halloween special, and the story follows a father and son visiting the Skarfell Mountain Railway. They hear about a mysterious locomotive, decide to rebuild it, and from there the story unfolds. It follows a similar premise to Tornado's steam test, and Tornado himself even makes an appearance. The biggest reason it's taking so long comes down to two things. The first is capacity. Episode 1 was by far the biggest project I've ever worked on, and it honestly almost burned me out. I had to push myself really hard to finish it, and there were even last-minute script changes right before release. The second is the cast. Since I work with voice actors, I have to wait until everyone's available to record their lines. That means production depends on everyone's schedules lining up, so it can take a while. I'd rather take my time and make episode 2 the best it can be than rush it out before it's ready. Question submitted by @Browski9903: why do you not use a different game like Blue Train with friends, for example? Simple, really. I just don't care for those games. I have tried them before, but, personally, they're just not up to my standards. They tend to look a bit too cartoonish for my liking, whereas I prefer a more realistic style. I'm also a creature of habit. I like using the games I'm already familiar with because they work well for the kind of content I make. That doesn't mean those games are bad, they're just not my preference. Question submitted by @Railfan102: what was that spot you used where there was fog and other diesels, and the narrow gauge track? The location that can be seen in these videos here.
Crystal. A couple of bee hatches. Why not?
If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look
I used to film the scrapyard scene with Stepney was the old mine. It's actually a really underrated location, and I think it has a lot of potential for filming. You'll definitely be seeing it again in future videos. I already have plans to use it in a number of remakes, as well as for a few flashback scenes in Skarfell, showing the days of the Mid-Sodor Railway. I think it fits those scenes perfectly, so expect to see a lot more of it in the future. I've noticed you don't accept every request. How do you decide what videos to make? That's a really good question, and it's something I've wanted to explain for a while. Whenever someone leaves a request in the comments, I don't just ignore it or immediately say yes or no. Instead, I take a screenshot of it and add it to a Google Doc where I keep track of all the ideas you've suggested. Once it's in there, I have a proper think about whether it's actually viable to turn into a video. I ask myself a few questions. Is it worth making? Will it burn out the film crew? Will we actually enjoy making it? One thing I want to make clear is that views don't factor into that decision at all. I genuinely don't care whether a video gets 100 views or 100,000. I'd much rather spend my time making something I'm proud of and that everyone involved enjoys creating. After that, every request is given one of 5 outcomes. Request accepted is where most requests end up. If it's a good idea and we think we can make it work, it goes into the production list. Then there's what I jokingly call a why. These are requests for things that don't really fit the channel, such as random anime songs or obscure web series that hardly anyone has heard of. They're not necessarily bad ideas, they're just not the sort of content I make. Next is fuck no. This is reserved for ideas that simply aren't going to happen. For example, pretty much every All Engines Go request ends up here because it's just not something I enjoy making. I'd rather spend my time creating content that I'm genuinely passionate about. Then there's seasonal request. If someone suggests something for Halloween, Christmas, Easter, or another event, it gets put into that folder so I can revisit it when the right time of year comes around. Finally, there's probably the most frustrating category of all, awaiting character or location. This isn't a rejection at all. It's for ideas that I genuinely want to make, but I physically can't yet because we're missing a model, a location, or another important asset. That folder is already full of songs I'd love to remake, such as Hottest Place in Town, Shouty Man, yes, Hurricane will be playing Shouty Man.
Hi, I'm a Shouty Man!
And plenty of others. So if you've requested something and it hasn't appeared yet, there's a good chance it's sitting in that folder waiting for the right models or locations to become available. That's basically how the request system works. I really do read your suggestions, and even if I don't reply to them, there's a good chance they've been added to the list. I can't promise every request will become a video, but I can promise every request gets considered. Question: what class of engine is your favorite? I've actually had quite a few favorite engines throughout my life. When I was around 3 years old, my favorite was, of course, Thomas the Tank Engine. I think that's how a lot of people my age got interested in railways, and he was definitely the engine that started it all for me. A bit later on, I became a fan of Flying Scotsman for a while. Over time, though, I lost interest and moved on to other locomotives. Because Scotsman fans are extremely toxic. Truro did 100 first. That's why I am so anti-Scotsman and believe he should be taken off the main line and either put in a museum or put on a rusty siding. Anyway, these days, my favorite engines are NESB Type 30 number 271 and the Ivet tanks. I really like the design of the Type 30, and as someone from Norway, it has a bit of personal significance to me. As for the Ivet tanks, I've always thought they were charming little engines, and they've become some of my favorite British locomotives. Hence why there are a few OC characters in my remakes such as Melanie 41312, the same engine I drove in 2024. I know many people who've driven the Avarts, and we all agree they're lovely tank engines. As for NESP Type 30 number 271, she's amazing in a different way. People on the VOS line have even started calling her the Queen because she's the finest steam locomotive currently in service. It was incredible seeing her arrive in 2023. Sadly, this is her final season before she's withdrawn for a new boiler and major overhaul. Question: what drives you to make these videos? That's actually a very personal question, but I'm happy to answer it. When I was in primary school, I was horrendously bullied for liking trains. You know who you are. I remember one of my first days there, I had die-cast models of Jack, Mavis, and Proteus, and some of the older kids just wouldn't leave me alone. They made fun of me constantly, called me mental, and made me feel like there was something wrong with enjoying something I loved. That went on for all 7 years of primary school. For a long time, it knocked my confidence. But looking back, I'm actually glad I never gave up on my hobby. If I had listened to those people, this channel wouldn't exist. Now, I've built a community of thousands of people who enjoy the same things I do, and we've reached over 1 million views. That's something I never thought would happen when I was sitting in a classroom being told I was weird for liking trains. So, to anyone watching this who's ever been bullied for their hobbies or interests, don't let other people decide what you're allowed to enjoy. If you're passionate about something, stick with it and stand up for yourself until the very end. One day, those same interests might become the thing you're most proud of. And to the people who made fun of me all those years ago and the teachers who did nothing, well, look where I am now. I'm still making train videos, and I wouldn't change a thing. Now, to add a bit of sugar to what was probably quite a salty answer, I'd like to thank everyone who did support me throughout my life. Whether it was my family, my friends, or the people who encouraged me to keep enjoying my hobby, thank you. Your support has meant more than you'll probably ever know. I'd also like to thank all of you. One of my favorite things about making videos is reading your comments. I see so many of you saying that my videos remind you of your childhood, that they're nostalgic, or that you look forward to every upload. That's why I do it, guys. I don't make these videos for views or numbers. I make them because I enjoy bringing those memories back and putting a smile on people's faces. Knowing that my videos can make someone's day or remind them of happier times is worth more to me than any view count ever could. Right now on screen, you'll probably be seeing a few of those amazing comments from you guys. Thank you to everyone who's taken the time to leave such kind words. They really do mean a lot to me. That actually gives me an idea. We have this amazing community now, but we don't really have a name for it. So let me ask you all a question. What should the Mad About Steam fanbase be called? Leave your suggestions in the comments, and who knows? Maybe from the next video onwards, I'll be able to start every upload by saying, "Hey, fanbase name." Once a few names have been chosen, I will make a poll and we will decide. Before we end off the video, there's one last thing I'd like to do. When I announced this Q&A, a lot of you didn't ask questions, you left video requests instead. So, to finish things off, I'm going to go through some of the requests from the Q&A announcement post, explain what I think of them, and let you know whether they've been accepted, denied, marked as seasonal, or put into the awaiting character or location category. So, let's take a look at what you guys have suggested. Request submitted by at 104K3D. Request: can you do Danger Zone by Top Gun? Hell yes. This is exactly the sort of request I like to see. It's got loads of potential, and I can already think of a few ideas for it. For example, I could have an engine racing to the scrapyard to pick up goods, or something along those lines. The fast pace of the song would work really well with action scenes and dramatic camera shots. If any of you have ideas for a storyline that would fit Danger Zone, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your suggestions because I think this one has the potential to be a really fun remake.
Hey, they learned it! What a bunch of pros!
Request submitted by Atema Sands 2731. Request, Please Do Die Die by Shakira and Burna Boy. Request accepted. That's the TikTok one, isn't it? Yeah, sure, why not? I'm happy to add it to the request list. The only problem is that I genuinely have no idea what I'd actually do with it. If I can come up with a decent storyline or some interesting visuals to go with the song, then I'll definitely consider making it. So, if any of you have ideas for how I could turn Die Die into a Thomas remake, let me know in the comments. I'm all ears. Well, I think that's about everything I wanted to cover. Thank you all so much for watching this Q&A, and thank you to everyone who submitted a question or a request. Even if yours wasn't featured, I promise I still read through all of them. I also want to thank each and every one of you for all of your support over the years. Whether you've been here since my very first videos or you've only just found the channel, thank you for being part of this amazing community. Hitting over 1 million views is something I never thought would happen, and I couldn't have done it without you. I genuinely love making these videos, and seeing your comments, your requests, and hearing how my remakes bring back childhood memories makes all the hard work worthwhile. That's what keeps me motivated to carry on making content. Here's to many more remakes, many more stories, and hopefully many more milestones together. Until next time, thank you all for everything. I've been mad about Steam, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.